and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to discuss something quite simple. I like to keep my code, or the main body of my code, looking clean and easy to read. It makes it much easier to write the code in the first place and a lot easier to maintain later. So where possible, I like to create functions to do a lot of the detail or the heavy lifting for me, and then just call those functions from within my code. So today I want to talk about overloading the standard functions that are available in MQL4 to get details about order, the order open time, order close time, order open price, and close price, and so on. These functions all require some work to do order selects around them, and I like to make those a little simpler by overriding the functions to pass in a ticket number. So I'm going to show you the standard override functions I use and some examples of how I use them. So here I have a script that I created just to show how the order functions work in normal use. Just standard comments above. When we get down here, I'm opening up two tickets. Nothing in particular about these. I'm just opening one buy and one sell ticket. And I'm capturing the ticket numbers as ticket 1 and ticket 2. Then I'm immediately using a print format statement to print the ticket number coming from the order ticket function, the order open time from the order open time function, open price, and order commission. And when I run this statement will print empty values, because these functions will return nothing because no order is selected, even though I've just executed an order send function here. Then I'm using an order select function, passing in ticket number 2 and selecting by ticket, and that will populate the values for these functions. So then when I execute this print format statement the second time, I'll get values for ticket number 2. And then at the bottom here I'm simply closing the tickets, but in order to close each ticket I need to get the ticket number and the order lots and the order close price. So I'm having to select each ticket one by one and then call the order close function. I could of course have remembered the order lots, but I'm trying to be more generic here and show how these functions will work. So with all of that in place, I'll just compile that. I'm getting a warning on the order select functions, but I'm not worried about that for the time being. And I will run this now. Move that to one side. You can see here the script running shows that I've opened up 2 orders and shows the ticket numbers that I got. That's from the open statement. But then the very first, as I said, the first print format, I'm getting ticket 0, open time 0, price 0, because it's not initialized. After I then do the order select, I'm getting back the information from ticket 2, which is ticket number 359, correctly showing an open price and commission amount. And then these statements are just coming from the closed statements. What I would like to be able to do is pass a ticket number into these functions. So if I call order open time, I should be able to pass a ticket number in there and get back the order open time for that order. But as we see, let me just begin typing, you can see that the only signature showing here in the pop-up is void. There are no arguments for the order open time function. So what I'm going to do then is override those functions and create an overloaded value or an overloaded function that takes a ticket number. The first thing I'm going to do is create an order select function that takes a ticket without requesting the type of order select, just to make things a little simpler. Alright, so here's my order select function. It just takes a ticket number, and I'm simply executing the order select then using the select by ticket option. So nothing there other than that I'm filling in a default value. But the next thing I want to do then is to begin overriding these functions that return order values. So let's begin with order open time, because I've used that above. Now this function order open time also takes a ticket number, and I'm then using the ternary operator here with the question mark what this is saying is if I get a true value back from the order select ticket function, the one that we've defined above, then I will return the order open time, which will give me the open time for the selected ticket. And if I get a false value back from this function, meaning the order select failed, then I'll just return a default value of 0. And that will override order open time, and if I use that with an argument of ticket number, I will get the open time for that ticket. Let me just demonstrate that I can do this. And compile. So that's all fine with the compiler. I won't run it yet because I haven't created these functions. So let's create other functions now. So now these are all of the functions that return values about an order, except order ticket, which made no sense to override that by passing in a ticket number. You can see each one has its own data type. The function here is the same for all. I'm checking the order select ticket first, and if that's true, then I'm just returning the default value from the order function. Otherwise, I'm passing in the value to be returned. 0 doubles for double values, zeros for integer and date time, and of course strings for strings. So now I can replace the remainder of these functions. No point in using the function there, I might as well. And I'll change that to select ticket 1. So what I'm doing now, I'm still creating 2 orders. I'm then using the overridden or overloaded order functions to get the values back for ticket number 1. And then I'm going into the order select the way we did before, order select ticket 1, and then print format, and using the order functions that are not overloaded. So I should get the same values from both of these. So let's make sure I haven't made a typing mistake. Now if I move that to the side, and I'll clear the values I had earlier from here, run that. Alright, so we can see now 2 orders opened. These statements come from the order open functions or the order send, and then I'm printing the values that I retrieved from ticket number 1, which is 881, and you can see I'm getting the same values back whether I do the order select first or use my functions. But of course the overloaded functions are themselves calling the order select function. There's a certain amount of inefficiency in this because I'm calling order open time with ticket 1, open price, and commission. That's 3 calls. Each one of those calls will in turn call the order select function, which will attempt to select the ticket. I can make that a little more efficient by using a modified version of this function. And in this version, I'm actually checking to see whether the ticket passed in is the same as the current order ticket, and that saves executing the order select. Let me wrap that around so you can see it. So if the ticket is the same as the currently selected order ticket. I'm just returning true, which is the value I would get if I executed the order select. And if the ticket is different, then I'm attempting the order select and I'll be returning the value that that gives me. So this is a little bit more efficient if I'm going to be calling multiple times. And if I just take that out, and we can run this again just to see that everything still works. So now I have two tickets, 42 and 44, and we can see that both of the print functions are returning information for ticket 42. So this change to the statement hasn't caused any problems at all. Now, we can make this even more efficient in cases where you're going to use these values many times, which you might be doing in some kind of processing loop where you're repeatedly referring to the open time or the open price or anything. To do that, I'm going to create a structure first. This is my structure. It simply has a value for each of the values that could be returned by those order functions. To use that, I'm going to create a single function that populates all of these values at one time. Let me just scroll to the bottom here. So this is my get order data function. It takes a ticket number and a structure of type strade data. So the first thing I'm doing is calling the order select function that we created above to make sure that I have that ticket selected, and I'm returning false if that can't be done. So this is a Boolean function to get order data. And then all I'm doing is filling data dot and each of the elements of that structure with the appropriate function from order. Once I've done that, of course, and the function returns, then this data structure holds all of these values and they can be reused with very little overhead after that. So I'll just go back up into the body of the script and use that function. So what I'm doing here, I'm defining two variables of type strade data, data1 and 2, and then I'm calling the get order data function, passing in ticket number 1 and data 1, ticket number 2 and data 2, and that will fill both of those with the information for those two tickets. Let me just quickly change that print format statement so that it's the same as the earlier statement. Now if I run that, clear these values, so it's opening two tickets, 598 and 601. This is my original, a little scrolling there, this is my original print format statement, and that is the second print format statement. Then I have the statements where I'm using these print formats using the data 1 and data 2. So ticket 1 getting the same values as below, and and ticket 2, I'm getting the values for ticket number 601. The open time didn't change by enough to show a difference, but you can see a different open price because one's at bid and one's at ask. The commission's the same on both. And then I'm just closing both of those. And I can even make use of these functions in the order close. I could remove this order select, and I can then replace order lots by data1.lots and order close price by data1.close price, and I can do the same in the next statement. So that's a very short and quick explanation of how we can use function overloading on existing inbuilt functions to perhaps make them more useful. I do this simply because it makes my code more readable, rather than go through the process of doing the order select in line with my code. I can very easily tell then, and it also helps if I'm using an order value in different places in my code, just in case something has happened that might have changed the selected order. I always know that if I call the function passing in a ticket number, that I'm always going to get that value for that ticket, and it won't have changed by some other function I may have called. So it just makes things more readable, easier to manage. And if I am going to use values very frequently, I will use this technique where I'm populating a data structure with the information from that order. Now I've placed this structure and all of these functions inside a script here because that's very easy to demonstrate what I'm talking about. But you will probably prefer to move these into your standard include library, and that's what I've done with the functions that I use as well. I hope you found this useful. If you have, please leave a like, and if you would like to see more of these videos, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we release more videos. Until the next time, thank you for watching.